The hell are you supposed to be?
On today's episode, we discuss the Batman stuff you might have missed in the trailer. He's Jay.
That's me.
I'm Alan. That's Ben.
Three bros with three opinions, all about movies.
If you hate Alan and you love Batman, like and subscribe.
Let's go.
All right, let's just get right into it because this trailer surprised the crap out of all
I'm
of us.
super stoked for this. I'm so
I
pumped.
am so excited.
Yeah, so let's talk about one thing real fast. I was worried that this was going to be like the Justice League where everything's going to be CGI and it's going to be colorful rainbows and garbage stuff. But
Complete
this-
opposite.
This is dark, gritty, and sadistic.
Hey, how wrong were
Complete
you?
opposite.
Oh, I was wrong.
Could you be any more wrong?
No, but I love it. I love it. I love the
All right,
fact that I was wrong.
let's do
So
it.
straight into it, we get the opening scene where you hear the duct tape and you're wondering what the heck is that noise? And then you see this masked guy sitting there duct taping the face of somebody. Turns out that's the Riddler. You wouldn't think that would be the Riddler though, because the Riddler in the comics wears his flashy Jim Carrey suit where he's got the fluorescent green suit and he's got the question marks all over. Didn't have that.
This is not it.
It's much more subtle, and I really like that. It's really hyper realistic. You know,
It's just darker.
it's darker.
It's just darker, grittier, just more grunge. A grungier
Ooh,
version.
I
Yeah.
like that grunge.
Yeah, it's a grungier
Yes.
version.
Like
Yes.
Nirvana.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
like
Nirvana.
Like the soundtrack.
Uh-huh.
So it's a harken back to Christopher Nolan, the Dark Knight series, the Dark Knight trilogy, where they were trying to be hyper realistic, but this kind of does it better.
Yeah,
This looks more real than Christian Bale's Batman.
and that's saying something. So
That's saying a
let's get into
lot.
stuff that people might have missed.
Okay, so the opening scene, you see Commissioner Gordon reading off the Riddler's rhyme, and you see Batman walk in, but then it freeze frames almost onto the card, the calling card that the Riddler left for Batman. And in that card, you have a picture of an owl. That's alluding to something.
Mhm.
Then you have the skeleton behind the owl, also alluding to something. And then the message inside that card. And the
Which
message
was
says-
handwritten by the Riddler.
by the Riddler, and it says, "What does a liar do when he's dead?" Then there's a code. There's a code written out on that, and it looks like hieroglyphs, and kind of similar to the Zodiac serial killer that was real in real life.
Definitely
And,
real.
you know, we've done some research, and we figured out that little hidden message there says he lies still.
That was the hieroglyphics. That was what
The hieroglyphics.
That was
So-
the riddle.
So you say, "What does a liar do when he's dead? He lies still."
Now-
What's that mean?
That's also a double meaning because to me it says he still lies.
Right. He
Like
still
actually,
lies.
like they're lying down. Like
he's dead, but
he's
why,
just he lies right here.
Yeah, so does that mean he lies still, as in he's lying on the ground, he's not moving, he's dead? Or does that mean that his lies still continue? Does that mean that
I think it's
his sins have not been washed away?
Yeah.
Just because you're dead doesn't mean
Yeah.
you're still not
Even in death, your lies still
exist.
exist. Right.
I think it's.
Right.
Both,
I think it means
exactly.
both.
I think it means both. And I like that. And I like that a lot.
I think we'll find out.
Well, we'll definitely find out. But then the trailer goes on and you get to the scene where you don't really know what's happening based on the trailer, but we kind of figured out this is the funeral. This is the funeral for the person who was taped up. The person who was taped up is the mayor of the city.
Kind of a big person.
Kind of a big person.
Yeah.
So he killed the
He's a
mayor.
big old silly.
Yeah, he killed the mayor, and he killed the mayor because the mayor is
what was-
involved
what
in a
was-
lot of corruption.
What was written on the mayor? So in the opening scene, that was the mayor. He was duct taping, and then you in the opening scene, it was written "No more lies"
On the face.
on literally his face in the duct tape.
Right. So the Riddler is clearly trying to be this, I don't know, anti-hero vigilante.
Yeah.
He's trying to be his own version of Batman.
But going
But
So,
very-
going
well,
about
real
it
quick,
the wrong way.
did he use that duct tape to tape his whole face to silence him,
Right.
and then write
Yeah.
"No more lies"? Like I'm sick of your
Right.
lies. No more now. Your duct tape up. You can't talk. You can't breathe. You're done.
Yeah, instead of just the traditional one piece of tape over somebody's mouth, he's got your whole face taped
Yep.
up saying you don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
You're Dunsky. You're
You don't
out.
even have a face. You're a nameless. You're a faceless person.
Right.
Exactly. So then the trailer goes on, and it turns out it's the funeral for the mayor, and the mayor was killed because he was involved in tons of cases and tons of stuff where there's a lot of corruption through the police department, possibly corruption with federal agents, about
The district attorney
the
also.
district attorney, stuff that he did to claim his seat in office and stuff that he did to quote unquote clean up the city to make himself look good. And the Riddler's here trying to expose him for it.
Right.
So-
Because allegedly he was lying to to convict people.
Right. Yeah, he was lying to convict people to make himself better. Probably people that didn't need to be convicted to keep him in his seat.
Yeah, so he could have a higher
Exactly.
clearance rate and all that.
Exactly. And that links back to the card. So let's go back to the card. The card has a picture of an owl on it.
Mhm.
And the owl in Batman is very, 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 very significant.
Now, tell me why, because I don't know.
So-
I'm not that big into the comic books and stuff like you are, so that goes right over my head.
All right, so the Court of Owls, when the New 52 comics came out back in around
Who?
2011, the New 52 comics, just let me continue. The New 52 comics was kind of the revamp, the redo of all these superheroes. And when this came out in 2011, they introduced the Court of Owls. The Court of Owls is kind of like the Illuminati of Gotham City.
The deep state
They're
of
the
Gotham
deep
City.
state. Yeah, they're the deep state that controls and runs everything underground. And they call themselves the Court of Owls. They meet in secrecy. They wear these owl masks. Nobody really knows whose identity is whose. And they run and control the city. So why is that on the card that the Riddler sent? Not sure. Is it alluding to the fact that the Riddler understands that they're controlling the city? Or does it allude to the fact that the Riddler's part of them and being controlled by them? We're not exactly sure. We're
It
not
could-
exactly sure.
I mean,
It's probably alluding to him knowing that they're in control.
It could be either one. It could be neither, but I'm gonna say it's probably alluding to the fact that they run the city.
Right, and he knows.
Well, and what about the skeleton behind the owl?
Yeah, the skeleton behind the owl kind of alludes back to the Riddler. The Riddler is in control of the skeleton gang, supposedly in this. And the skeleton gang you see in this trailer when Batman beats the living crap out of one of them.
Yeah,
Right.
that was
Which was my
impressive.
favorite part of the trailer.
Oh, yeah.
Because he beats that guy. You never seen that part, that side of Batman, at least I haven't, where Batman usually smacks some people around, but he's always so good that he never takes it to the next level. In this
Right.
one, he actually just pummeled the guy.
But that takes it back to the fact that this
Right.
is based on Batman Year 2. Batman Year 2 is a comic book series that came out in 1987, and it takes place in Batman's, of course, second year of being Batman. He's still learning how to be the vigilante. He's established as the vigilante, but he's still learning himself. And
Right.
what they're talking about here, and I think what that scene shows is, does Batman have full control over Bruce Wayne and the Batman? Does Batman understand the difference between I'm Batman and this is Bruce Wayne, or I'm Bruce Wayne and this is Batman? It's that internal
where
conflict.
That's where I think Bruce struggles to figure out, how far Batman will actually push the envelope. Because in that scene, that guy asked him, or one of the other guys in the background asked, who are you? And usually Batman says, I'm Batman. And he
Right.
doesn't. Here he says, I'm vengeance.
Right, like in Michael Keaton's Batman, where the famous line is, "Who are you?" And Michael Keaton says, "I'm Batman."
Yeah.
And then every meme and everything ever since then is, "I'm Batman."
Yeah, because that's
I'm
always been a
Right.
line for Batman. And this
Right.
one was different.
I'm vengeance.
I'm
I
vengeance.
love that it's different though.
Yeah, I think that's
oh,
great.
Yeah, I loved it, and I loved how just when you thought he was done pummeling the guy, it kind of paused for just like that half beat, and he
Yeah.
kept going.
Yeah.
But there was, even when he knocked
It was
him down,
brutal. It was brutal,
I was-
actually.
even
It was
when
very brutal.
Even when he knocked the guy down, he still gave him a good 2 licks. So I think what
Maybe
Jay,
three. Maybe
I think,
three.
I think what Jay said is it's kind of spot on, where it's like he doesn't know where he stops, pushing the envelope,
Right.
Yeah.
or how far he can push.
Or,
it.
or maybe he hasn't learned how to really control his emotions at that point.
His
And
rage.
His rage.
Exactly. And he's testing.
I think that's a great
I think, like you just said, he's testing how far he should push the envelope as Batman.
Right. And you said this is Batman Year 2, so he's still figuring
He's
that
still
out. This is still
figuring it
early
out.
enough where he doesn't know yet, even
Right.
for himself.
Right. So let's go back. Let's go back to that scene where they're at the funeral. At the funeral, a big old SUV, Lincoln something, comes flying in and wrecks.
like
and-
a navigator.
Yeah. Okay. So the Lincoln Navigator, on the back of that Lincoln Navigator, it's got the words or the letters DOA. We all know what that means, dead on arrival. And it goes further because DOA is surrounded by what look like prison bars. So what is the Riddler alluding to here? Is he saying, you're dead on arrival, or is he saying just because you're dead, you're still in prison? You've lost.
Well, to me, it kind of says just because you're dead doesn't mean that your sins aren't forgotten. It doesn't mean that like what you've done doesn't kind of belong behind bars.
Right. Right. I agree with that. And I think
Or
that's-
that your sins don't go away and that you're still guilty.
Right. So I think the Riddler is just making this big push, this big cause of, hey, this city's messed up, this city's jacked up, and I'm going to clean it up my way. You got Batman running around, but Batman's not cutting it. So Batman in the Riddler's mind is just as guilty because Batman is not willing to take the necessary measures to get done what needs to be done. So the Riddler, in his mind, thinks, I'm going to step in and I'm going to do what he can't. And that's killing. Batman never kills. We know that.
Right.
And so I think the Riddler's coming in saying, hey, I'm going to clean it up because Batman won't. So in the Riddler's mind, he's doing the right thing.
So in his mind, him and Batman are on the same side. They just have different. Well, at least that's what the trailer alludes to, where it's like we're on the same side. We want the same thing. We're gonna go about it totally different ways.
Yeah,
though.
Batman has self-restraint, and the Riddler doesn't.
Right, and the Riddler's not happy with it. And there's a part in the trailer where the Riddler kind of alludes to that, saying you're just as guilty because you're not doing enough.
Yeah, if you're not doing enough to stop it, you're part of the problem.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then you kind of see the hint of Penguin in this. You don't really know it's him. They don't give you any clues. Oh, that's Penguin. But when you break it down and you pause it right on that spot,
he has that
he's
got
the Cobblepot. He's got the Cobblepot.
And you only see that for like a very, very split second.
You see him twice.
So you're not like you're not even like
Well, and when I watched this trailer, I'm looking for Colin Farrell. Didn't find Colin Farrell anywhere because Colin Farrell is that good-looking, dapper, handsome dude.
Yeah.
And they dressed him way down in this. And they did some great makeup.
Nothing like himself.
He's like me. It's like really hard to like dumb him down and look that ugly. Like it's
it
takes a lot of work.
It
takes a lot of work.
It does take a lot of work. So Colin Farrell in this, and what I'm thinking is based on the fact that they only showed him very briefly. He didn't have any speaking lines that I could hear. He's probably just a foreshadowing aspect for future movies.
That's the same thing I was thinking too.
I don't think the Penguin's going to have a huge role. I think he's going to have a minor role that kind of sets him up for the next one.
For the second one.
Right.
Because why would you have, the Riddler in this one and also the Penguin, and we saw a glimpse of Catwoman as well.
Right. So who all is in this one? Who have we identified as actually in this?
So far we've identified, of course, Batman. We've identified Commissioner Gordon. We have identified the Riddler, obviously, and we've identified the Penguin, and we've identified Catwoman.
Mm-hmm.
And Catwoman in this, she's totally different. She's just your, thief in the night and goes out and steals stuff. And she ends up in every comic. She's Bruce Wayne's love interest in numerous things, Selena Kyle. And this is played by Zoe Kravitz, Lenny Kravitz's daughter. She's in this, and it shows too that this is kind of her year too. She's dumbed down. She doesn't have her typical Catwoman suit on. She's just got her.
Yeah, she had like a mask on. That was it.
With little hints of cat ears on it.
Yeah, it was like a 7-Eleven mask with like sewed on cat ears.
Yeah, right. Little puffs that
or
look
some
like
you
cat
buy
ears.
at like Toys R Us.
Right, but she's clearly robbing something, and she gets involved with Batman, and you see this little fight scene that they have, and you can kind of tell that Batman's impressed, and it kind of alludes to the fact that they're going to have some kind of relationship develop.
I mean, they always do, but yeah.
Yeah, right. It just looks downright dirty and gritty, and I love it.
It looks great.
One thing that I really noticed that I really, really enjoy is that the Riddler, again, we're going back to the fact that he's not wearing his question mark suit. He's not doing the trademark Riddler stuff where he's wearing his top hat and looking all silly.
Because he wouldn't fit in.
No, it wouldn't fit in. And they dressed him up like the Hush. And so the Hush is another bad guy that previously in the comics, he teamed up with the Riddler to go against Batman. And the Hush is one of these guys that tapes up his whole head. He looks like he's all bandaged up because he's a doctor. And he and the Riddler did this big scheme to where they were going to get back at Batman. And they put some of Batman's best friends against him. They even got Superman and Poison Ivy and all these people to fight Batman in that series. So maybe they're trying to combine Hush and Riddler together in this.
I think what we're going to see is probably in a few months, maybe Christmas time, I think we're going to see another trailer drop.
I think you're right.
And I think we're going to really find out who exactly is in this movie. I think we got a little snippet of it today, but I think we're going to see more as more trailers come out.
This one did get postponed, Jay. You were saying when it comes out. So it was supposed to come out in June of 2021, and it got pushed back to Halloween-ish of 2021.
Right.
Which I think actually is perfect for the movie because it's so dark and it's such a new Batman.
It has a Halloween type theme to it, Halloween type feel.
Well, that's because you guys don't know this, but it's also based on The Long Halloween, which is a comic book series with Batman. So that all harkens together.
This is why you're here.
Yeah.
There you go.
The Long Halloween is a big series that had a lot of influence on this movie.
This is why we all need one nerd in our lives.
Yep.
That's you.
Ben is it.
Glad I can fill that role.
I give this, I wish I had more hands. I'd give this thing 10 thumbs up if I could, because this is probably
I'm doing backflips.
As of right now, this is my the biggest movie I want to see in 2021.
I'm going to say something.
By far.
By far.
I'm going to say something, and you might call me crazy. This has the potential to be better than the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah, see, you're crazy.
See,
now.
I don't know if we'll ever.
This has the potential.
I don't know if we'll ever beat Heath Ledger's character.
No, I'm not saying it's going to beat Heath Ledger's, but I'm saying as a whole
movie,
as a whole, it might be better.
Well, see, for me, that Heath Ledger's made that movie for me.
Of
It was
course.
great, but
Of course.
All right, well,
I hope so.
So you got 2 thumbs up, Jay.
Two
You got
fat thumbs up. Two thicky thumbs up.
I'm going 2 fists.
I got 2. I like that. I got 2 thumbs, 2 toes. So we're all super pumped. And let us know what you guys think about the trailer as well in the comments. And I guess that's it. We're out.